years now. We're a full service brokerage firm. So we offer insurance products from property and casualty, your general liability, workers' comp, auto, property, in the marine, to 401k services. But my specialty with Aqualine is benefits. So my job is talking with folks just like you, because with Aqualine, we really specialize in the pool industry, whether it's pool builders, whether it's maintenance, with service, retail, that makes up, 80 to 85% of our client base. So when I'm talking to the small business owners, it's mainly about their benefit needs, whether that's putting together a competitive benefit package for their employees, whether that's talking to them about their individual life insurance, or what we're really going to be hitting on today mostly is kind of talking about their business planning, their entity planning. What do I need to be doing as a small business owner to protect my business, protect my partnership, protect my family? Small business owners, I don't need to tell you, you have quite a few hurdles that you're facing each and every single day. So a lot of times those questions kind of get put to the side because you've got so much on your plate with day to day, what's going on with this job, what's going on with that job. So that's where my role comes in. And in doing that, we work with a number of partners, but our top partner far and away is Principal Financial Group. They have a wonderful, large array of products that help small business owners tackle these challenges that we're going to be talking about. And they also have some really, really great tools that they offer to business owners to kind of find out exactly what they need to meet these challenges. And so we're very lucky today to have Jack Levy with Principal with us. He's going to be walking us through this presentation. And so Jack, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Michael, for allowing me an opportunity to spend a few minutes with your members. John, thanks for the partnership. I just coming from a background of 27 years working with small, medium, and large employers to try to help them design and implement and really create executive benefits and retention strategies for key people, and also helping business owners. I think one thing you'll learn about Principal is we see a lot of things. But more importantly, I want to spend a few minutes sharing with you some things that we're hearing from other business owners through a third party that we engaged a long time ago. And so one of the kind of the aha moments for me over the last 18 months is, in light of COVID, more business owners, when we get on the phone with them, are doing really well. Some aren't doing so well, but a lot of them are still doing really well pre-COVID and post-COVID. But what I'm hearing business owners say to me is, I'm more flexible, I'm a bit more liquid, I want to sit back and reflect on my business. In fact, there was a study survey just said that 70% of people surveyed said they came out of COVID wanting to get their financial house in order. And so what I want to share with you is a third party that we engage, some of the things business owners are telling them. And I also want to share with you what business owners are telling us at Principal. They seem to fall in three categories. When business owners get on the phone, they're wanting to think about protecting their business. They want to talk about protecting its equity. They want to even talk about, how can I protect revenue in case of things like death, disability, or a departure of themselves or key people. They also want to know about, at the end of the day, it's about lifestyle. And this aha moment of this, what I'll call the silent killer and whatnot, people are saying, you know what, I got to live. And I want to start enhancing my lifestyle. I want to start thinking about maybe even exit planning, and my business is my biggest asset. What can I do? And then third, protecting equity also means my key people. Whether you have 10 employees or 200 employees, we're going to talk about both those kind of companies today. Is who is that driver? Who is that key lieutenant? Who is that head chef? Or who is that person at your pool company that drives the bus? Or maybe there's a group of them. Are they there to help drive value for you and protect themselves at the same time? We need to kind of think about platforms and strategies called value drivers. So with that, I just want to spend with you a few things. Dinetta we engaged them a long time ago, some 20 some odd years ago. And every 2 years they do surveys where they talk to owner operators of small businesses. And when it's really important that when I say owner operator, these are vibrant companies, been around, and the owner is very active in the business. And what that means to me is these are the kind of people that you are. These are not owned necessarily by foreign conglomerates or private equity. These are people that are in the trenches every day. And what they really are telling us is more and more business protection. And that just doesn't mean, hey, I protect my business in case of fire and auto thefts and all kinds of things in your businesses that you buy insurances for. It's taking it to the next level. It's protecting that business owner who told me one time, aha moment for him was, I don't have anything in case I didn't make it home at night. What's going to happen to my business? And he's even used the words, I need an oh shit policy, something that would protect my equity, protect my business, protect my revenue in case something happened to me as a sole shareholder. They're adjusting their goals. They're living each day to its fullest now. They're more flexible, and they want to look to retaining key employees at the same time, all getting people to think like an owner every day without diluting ownership. That's what these owners are telling me. And so one of the things, hopefully you can see this screen, and we'll be sending this out a recording. Since 2008, and we've been doing these engaging Dinetta every 2 years, business protection is always top of mind. Why is that? Many business owners tell us that if it wasn't for their business, they're not going to live comfortably in retirement because their 401k typically isn't that meaningful. They typically don't have pension plans. They typically don't have faith in Social Security being that for them. So many owners are saying, if I don't sell my business and get top dollar, or if I don't detail my car so I can have my key employees take over the business for me, I'm not protecting it. And then along the way, I have risks, death, disability, and not showing up one day. So since 2008, as you can see, and I'm going to give you a couple more slides in a minute, that business protection was always top of mind. But baby boomers are not getting any younger. And so in 2021, in the height of COVID, business succession planning became number 4. It moved up. You can see it on the right-hand side, green box. I know some people are listening on the phone, but when you get a chance to look at the slides, what I'm here to say is we're not getting younger. COVID was something that was a wake-up call for a lot of business owners to start thinking about their business in a different way. And so I give you that because these are the kind of things business owners are telling me. I want to protect my business. I need to have health and welfare benefits for myself and key people. I want to worry. I need to worry about business and in business interruption or income protection. Disability insurance is something that we're seeing an uptick in. Business owners are worried if they can't, they got to insure the goose lays the golden egg. What if you can't get up and work someday? Whether you have a disability from a medical or some type of getting hurt on the job, business interruption and protecting your revenues, disability insurance, but business succession, and obviously qualified plans, i.e. the bedrock of our retirement system is the qualified plans. Many of you probably have 401ks or something like that. So really, it really starts with knowing the value of your business. And I'd like to say, one of the services, we're going to be 3 services that I'd like to let you know that through Michael and John's help, we can give you some, I think, a leg up from maybe having to spend a lot of money and engaging a third party to give you your value. Knowing the value of your business is probably the number one thing. If you can get out of this session is if you know your value, you can do planning. One of the things we do at Principal is, and it's a complimentary service, and John might mention it at the end, is for those vibrant companies, for that company, if you feel like you have a glide path and you're not necessarily looking to sell, but maybe 5+ years from now, and you're vibrant and you're growing and you got good cash flow, we do complimentary business valuations. So what that means is you first got to know what the value is. Then we got to figure out how to protect its equity and its revenue, kind of hand in glove. But we have a complimentary service I'll get to in a minute. Second, then you implement a succession plan. One of the things I'm hearing from business owners who I talk to every day is, I got to tighten up my business will. I got to make sure things are done. You know, Principal reviewed some 3,000 buy-sell reviews over the last 7 or 8 years. 1,000 of them didn't even have proper signatures. So here you have businesses that have legal documents between owners. And if you have partners, one of the things you might want to think about, and we'll get into in a minute, is your succession plan, your business will. What happens if you partner wants to leave early, dies, gets disabled, there's a business divorce, a personal divorce, all those things need to be clarified, signed off on, and updated. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And then the last piece, so we got the business valuation that's complimentary. You don't need to have a formal one done that costs money. We will do it for you in the right situation, and John will talk about at the end. Then you look at the business valuation, buy, sell, review, making sure those documents. And then lastly, if you want to enhance your lifestyle and you're thinking your business is going to be your biggest asset, sometimes a report called the Business Owner Supplemental Savings Solution Report will basically give you an eyeball of, do you think your business turned into cash someday, along with other investments, will give you that run rate you want to live that long, comfortable life? You know, if you live to 85 and your spouse lives to 90, will that business kick out that kind of income? And we have some services there that we can provide as well through John. A couple things here to think about. So how do you come up with a fair market value? Well, Principal, teaming up with John, would love to have an opportunity to talk to you about the different approaches we have. And this is not for today, but if you give us 3 years of financials, we can do some real deeper dive for you. We have a team of attorneys and CPAs that will actually look at your material and actually jump on the phone with you to walk through it with you. We found, and we've done 15,000 business valuations in 2021 year to date. From our inception of doing this about 10 years ago, 58% of the business owners have never even done a valuation. And of the ones that have, a bunch of them still haven't done them in a while. With everything going on over the last crazy 3 years, or even last 24 months, would it make sense to sit back, reflect on your business, and go through that process? And we would love that opportunity. Some of the things you'll find with our business valuation services is, you know, there's different kinds of methods, not all one fits all kind of approach. You know, there's a custom report we provide, and we would sit down with you and any other advisor that you'd like to talk through our approach. And again, this is something Principal does. We do them all the time, but we also have real live people that will take the qualitative and quantitative analysis. We want to learn more about you. We have some different questions we're going to ask about exiting and key people. And let's form a conversation that starts the process. How much is it worth? Are your documents in place? What goals are you trying to get to? Is it protecting revenue? Is it trying to enhance your lifestyle? Is it about key employee retention, which all kind of goes hand in glove, and that protects equity? You know, business valuations are all different. Someone might say, you know, if we're two partners, me and John are 50-50 partners, I might write down what I think it's worth. John might write down what I think it's worth. Probably somewhere we're close. But how about having someone walk through them all with you, whether it's book value or some type of capitalization of earnings, or, you know, 5 different approaches, not one fits all, and we'll back all that information up for you on a complimentary basis. Turning to the business side, the business documents. I had a good friend who had a partner 3 Christmases Eves ago pass away. My friend did sales. His partner was operations. They had 15 employees. You know, business probably worth about $3 million. They did not have this They did not have this in proper order. That friend of mine, my friend, is paying his partner's brothers, who we never met until the funeral, close to some $1.5 million over 4 years. Again, coming out of cash flow because they didn't have their agreements in place. So if I could echo anything, we do a fair amount of this where we would review your buy-sell agreements. And I like to give a health assessment. Red, things you got to look at. Green, you're doing great. Here's a red. Most of our plans, 70% of the companies that we work with don't even, close to 70%, never even mention disability insurance. What happens if there's a total disability to your partner or partners? Do you think that's something that should mandate triggering a buyout? And we would say that's prudent planning. So as you start thinking about there's death, disability, separations from divorces, or just want to leave voluntarily, business wills are important. Death, disability, 100% chance of death, disabilities can be devastating to a company. So common problems we often see is not formalized. 1,000 of those buy sells we reviewed out of 3,000 didn't even have proper signatures. That's not very good. No funding. Many buy-sell agreements are what we just call naked promises, or you're going to pay someone out of cash flow. So in my partner's or my friend's situation, sales and operations, the operations person passed away. He had to do both jobs. He had to hire someone eventually to take that job, lost revenue, lost sales, trying to do two jobs, very frustrated. So they could have created some funding vehicles. They could have created some liquid cash set reserves. They could have bought life insurance. Those are the kind of things that planning can do. And many of them are just outdated. Because if you decide to do a plan and you don't update it and something god awful happens to one of you or your partners, that equity may not be there. That protecting of your business may not be there because the document might call for honoring 5-year-old business valuations that haven't been updated. So again, this is the way to kind of create a proper structure. Triggering dates, I talked about them. You want something to be clear. Whether you're a sole shareholder or you have partners, you want to get into this because even if a sole shareholder dies, what would happen? Is your spouse going to sell the business? Is your key employee going to need to be retained? So some of the protecting equity, we call it stay bonuses. If something happens to you, the 100% shareholder, make sure your key people don't run out the door. Structure something where they stay. And these are the kind of conversations we get into: business valuation, reviewing documents, and then we find a health assessment of your plan, your documents, and whatnot. Moving on. Now, the third leg of the service we can provide, this is a little bit more in depth, and I just want to kind of share with you. Many business owners tell me over and over again, Jack, I have this 401k. It doesn't really work for me. I have rules. I have these regulations. I have tests. Just as a flashback, if anybody's been in a 401k and you're a business owner, you probably remember in the 90s, you could only put about $9,000 in your 401k. Now it's 19. In the 80s, they allowed you to put $30,000 in. What happened? Tax Reform Act of 86 hurt all the owners and highly compensated folks. Thus, business owners that I talk to many times don't view their 401k as meaningful enough. They have other assets and second homes and, a business to sell, but they would love to have another way of having disciplined savings through their company, and 401ks and all those rules hurt owners and highly compensated many times. I would bet that there's someone on this phone or listening that might be an owner in a small company that doesn't even get to be in the 401k because of the rules. There's too many of them. So what business owners tell me is, I'm trying to keep my standard of living. I have no idea yet when I'm selling, but when I sell, I hope to get a check, and I hope that's going to save. It's going to be enough for my spouse and I to live this great retirement. But how do I coordinate all that? And do I have any other ways to save because my 401k is okay? And so we have this analysis that we'd be happy to do complimentary for you that takes and assumes we've done your business valuation. We bake it into an analysis of assuming when you move on, i.e. sell, how are you selling internally, externally? Do you sell in installments or lump sum? What other savings do you have? Do you have a 401k pot of cash? Do you have inheritance? Do you have mutual funds or stocks or property? Let's set all that in, but let's come up with some fair assumptions. How old are you now? When do you think you're going to retire? When do you think you're going to see your last day on earth? How about your spouse? What kind of interest rates and taxation you think we're going to have? I don't know about you guys. Can't get any worse, but it's gonna on the tax side, especially corporately. We have to find tools through our company to allow you to save on a favorable basis. And this report may shed some light on that and give you some ideas. So I know this is small print, but what the report here is saying is you got a couple of 52-year-olds, they're thinking of selling, their business is worth, you know, a few $1,000,000. And at the end of the day, what this report shows with some fair assumptions is you have some red. Red means your business turning it into cash at retirement still may not get you what you need. If you live to 90, you live to 85, your spouse lives to 90, this kind of financial modeling, you probably can get at some high-end advisors if you already have one, but this is something John can do through principal on a complimentary basis. Project out for you whether you have this red problem. And that red problem is even with your business selling, even with all these other investments, you're going to live that comfortable life in retirement and spend a lot of money. You're not looking to reduce your run rate. So if that's the case, how can I bridge this red problem? Because those darn 401ks just don't help me enough as an owner. That's where we get into these Borer reports, where in this case, we talked about some other strategizing investing, disciplined approach, and plowing some more money away for yourself so you don't have this gap if you believe the numbers. And I'm just here to say, this assumption I made here was this business owner and their spouse lived a really long, comfortable retirement, spending a lot of money, and they needed to do more. And this was an eye opener for the owner. Larger companies, these are your 50 employee companies. What are they telling us? They're doing well as well, but they're also telling us those darn 401ks don't do enough for my key people. So I'm going to share with you a couple larger company ideas, and I'll come back to one small company idea. So again, I don't know everybody in the room, whether you're, 0 to 20 employees, 20 to 50, 50 or 100. But this is a little bit of those larger companies, and they are frustrated with 401ks, typically not doing enough. They're always worried about how can I monitor compensation? How can I get people to work hard, but maybe give them a little bit of a bonus, but give them the extra bonus, but maybe they can't have it right away. So if they help grow my company, I can give them a nice plan, but they just don't get paid today. They get paid later. And that kind of creates that golden handcuff. Some may say that's a good carrot in their stick. It helps build net worth and it helps grow the company, which also means your equity grows. Transition planning, we'll talk about that. I want to watch my time. One of the things that employees all have is this retirement gap. And what this is trying to say is between the fundamentals of Social Security, the fundamentals of a decent 401k, a key employee, someone who's under the letter A in GAAP, makes about $140,000 a year, can only replace so much. What that means is there's gaps, there's caps, and all kinds of things that hurt our higher performers. If you're over here on the left-hand side and you're making 30 or 40,000 a year, those kind of employees through governmental programs, so Social Security and a decent qualified 401k are going to be probably pretty much taken care of, because most studies say about 80% of income prior to retirement, at retirement, is what people think they need to live in a comfortable fashion. So if you have a higher performer, you have a key lieutenant in your company, you have those people that wake up every day and drive the bus for you, and they are making a decent amount of money, 80, 90, $100,000 or more, they might not know that they have this retirement gap problem. See, every key employee has a retirement gap problem because 401ks aren't enough. So Security added to it aren't enough to replace income. They have a disability gap problem and a life insurance gap problem. We see this all the time. This particular situation is, what can you do as an organization to help them with this, i.e., I need more money when I retire. What can you do at a corporate level to give sponsorship to something? And oh, by the way, will that help your company grow? And will that person may not be a flight risk, or will they work hard without diluting ownership, this is what these kind of plans do. So one other thing, as I mentioned, the second phase of the triangle is group disability insurance, just as a sidebar, typically only covers someone's base income, and for the most part is taxable. So if your company provides group disability insurance, maybe they're big enough that they have it. One of the things we see very common is key employees realize that if something really happened to them, not only are they going to get their base income that's taxable, it's not covering bonuses. So once again, if they were to really get disabled, they are not going to be able to live in any type of near comfortable fashion as they did before. So one of the things that we talk about is bridging a disability insurance gap, allowing some key employees, whether they buy on their own or the company buys for them, the ability to buy a little more. So when you really were to face a disability, you're getting the same kind of income that you lost prior to disability. So this gap is real. And so many companies are saying to us, I got to take care of my key folks. They have a disability problem, a gap. They have this retirement gap. And so we're seeing companies buy these plans called individual disability income plans. They're very custom. They're very much what I'll call the Cadillac of the industry. They're very much for executives only. We call them non-cancelable, guaranteed renewable own occupation type of approaches. Again, we'd be happy to talk to you further about it, because this is one of those things, if you're looking to keep your key people around, again, without diluting ownership, disability coverages might be something that you might want to think about. With the retirement gap, though, going back to that, some of the larger companies use what they call a deferred compensation plan. So you might have heard of them. A lot of the larger companies have them. But this slide is trying to show in a format that if you have high earners in your company and they are looking for tools to save, and you have a critical mass of some of these folks, maybe 5+ people, you can structure a plan where they have access to deferring more income pre-tax. These plans are called 401k mirror plans or lookalike plans. All this is trying to say, and I'm not going to get into it too deep, is you can structure plans through the company where these folks can't get this on their own. So if you're looking for a way to recruit key people, how about offering them a plan where not only you get to save in their 401k, but they get to save more in the non-qualified 401k pre-tax of salary and bonuses. 3 opportunities to really plow in some money. This allows you, these kind of structures allow you to save for second homes, college educations. So it's not all about retirement with these plans. Executives want to save for intermediate life stage events or your key people in your organization. So again, small, medium, large ideas. This is a little bit for your larger companies, but non-qualified deferred compensation plans are very, very, very popular to allow people to save more or the company to use it as a retention, because a non-qualified plan, the company can discriminate and pick and choose who's in the plan. So if you're a company and you're looking to grab some talent from one of your competitors, you can recruit them, maybe a signing bonus. Maybe it's $10,000 if you join, but you don't get it right away. It has a vesting schedule. You quit in the first 5 years, you may not get it. Maybe you're trying to find that CFO. I did one where it was a $50,000 signing bonus. The CFO didn't have to pay taxes on it, but also if he quit in 10 years, the first 10 years, he wouldn't get it. Now, is that the kind of lever you might need to help bring someone in, help grow the company to protect its revenue, protect its equity, and really protect your business? So retention and reward, you can't, in my view, today's folks who have a salary, maybe they have a little bonus and maybe they get commissions or something, and maybe they have a little 401k and they have healthcare. How about providing a kind of a stretch bonus? If they do something really well, grow revenue by X, grow equity by X, grow something, maybe they get something in a form of deposit, they just don't get it right away. So you might have heard things called golden handcuffs. These plans work in the, what I'll call the retain and reward. So if you're looking for ways to pick and choose people and say, if you do something really well, I might give you a bonus. but you just didn't have it right away. You might get it in 5 years. Large companies do these. They might be called restricted stock, stock options, fancy everything. How about just something bread and butter and easy? It's called a deferred comp plan that you companies, smaller companies can do. So pick and choose who's in. It's your key people. Maybe they get a 20, 30, 50, $100,000 bonus. They just don't have the ability to touch it right away. Will that keep them around? And if they do something really well, maybe they get something next year. Will that grow the company or not? So you hear a lot of words like value driver out of me. These are value drivers. If you can help people grow your company or incent them to grow your company without diluting ownership, that's what these value drivers do. The last one is restoring company benefits. Many key people in small, medium, and large companies are told at the beginning of the year, or they get a knock on the door and said, guess what? You can't put 19,000 in your 401k. Sorry, you have a testing issue here at your company. So many companies, the larger ones, are always saying, I got to help people retire. They need to be retirement ready. And I showed you the slide earlier. Putting a little bit of money in your 401k isn't going to get you there. And if they have these tests or these rules, your highly compensated folks may not ever get retirement ready, which might be something of a problem because they could be a flight risk if they can go to larger organizations that do these kind of things, that don't have testing issues in their 401k. So one of the takeaways is if you're a little larger companies, use some of these kind of tools to insulate you to also then, if you're privately held, protect and grow your equity. A couple more slides, and then I'm going to be turning it back over to John for Q&A or the wrap up. Many of these plans, these are special plans, I call them special plans for special people. They're called deferred compensation plans. Allow the organization to you might have heard someone say, I don't want to give people stock. What can I do instead of that? And an attorney might have said to you, have you ever thought of phantom stock? Well, this is the same thing. How about giving people the ability to profit share and grow? They get some dollars, but it doesn't really turn into shares. So you don't have to dilute any shares, but they get real live cash at some point in the future if they do well. That's what these kind of plans do. So how about creating an ownership experience, tie people to the company, maybe they're your future owners. I had an owner say to me one time, I have key people, they've been working here their whole lives, they don't have money to buy me out. So with this kind of program, I might have to finance my own exit. And the answer was, yeah, maybe. How about providing some incentive for them, put money in a kind of an account for them. And someday when you sell, they get to grab that account and use it to maybe buy in. Maybe not all of it, but buy in partially, then go borrow money at the bank or whatever. Point being, it provides flexibility and stickiness to protect equity and protect your business. So lastly, Principal Financial Group, we are known as a 401k company, a life insurance company, a pension company, a global asset manager, ESOPs. We do a lot of things. But one thing you're going to learn from us is we're all about the process and the design. We partner with people like John to make sure we want to talk design, whether it's business valuations, buy-sell reviews, or deferred compensation plans, or how do you get people to think like an owner without diluting ownership. That's design. We then want to make sure we implement something that's administratable, and we do a lot of that. And then lastly, participants have to view it, that there's integrity, there's good faith, that they can see it, feel it, touch it. And we want to bring that thing alive, that plan alive to them, and then provide the service after the fact. So if you have questions, you call John. John is going to be calling his service person, or you call our service person that will actually know about your plan. And that's really the kind of the front end, and then the back end, making sure you know that if you implement plans like this, we're here and there's support for you after. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. John.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Great information, as always. You can see why Principal is our top partner when it comes to these types of issues. Hopefully all of you listening found this educational. I know I always do when I listen to Jack talk. So If any of these, the items or the topics that we went over today, kind of pricked your ears up a little bit and made you think, hey, that's something I really would like to look into, I'd be your first point of contact. You can see my information right there on the slide. Please give me a call, shoot me an email. Would love to just start a conversation. You don't need to have a definite, idea in mind of where you want to go, but let's start the conversation. Let's get your business insured, let's get your future insured, and let's get you on the path to a happy retirement. So that's what it's all about. So with that, Mike, I think we'll open it up for questions if that works for you, unless you had any closing remarks.
Let's go ahead and open it up for questions, and thank you very much. Folks, I've been kind of watching the chat, but I haven't seen any questions. Do any of you have anything you want to ask our two presenters today? And if you can't think of it now, the contact information is there, and I will have that when we post this online for others to view. I will have both of their contact information listed so that you can contact them for questions.
Very good.
Not seeing anybody submit any questions. Maybe we'll just kind of move to a wrap up. So folks, again, thank you for joining us. We have another webinar that we will probably be putting on. We've got a tentative date. It's just being finalized with the presenter and make sure they're available. And that is on Wednesday, October 13th. So if you want to maybe just soft pencil that in, and of course we'll have information coming out shortly once we've got the speaker confirmed. And again, if you're not a member, we put these on. We invite you to join us today to kind of listen in. And this is an example. These webinars are an example of the kind of benefits that you get as a member. We let you come to one, maybe two, and then after that, you're expected to be a paying member because membership pays for this stuff. And with that, again, I want to thank you for this afternoon. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, John.
Absolutely.
And all of you who joined us today, have a great evening and hope to see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.